Hey, welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so right now, you and I are in the midst of a grand tour, if you will.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And a couple months ago, when we actually recorded this episode, you and I actually started to do a lot more work.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, what I mean is, like, you started to work a couple extra shifts to, like, kind of make up some money.
Mitigate.
Yeah, I took on a couple extra projects also to make some extra money.
Gotcha.
So my question is, in terms of, and I know like in real time, you and I can't answer this question,
right?
But do you think that it's worth it to do work ahead of time that is going to monetarily pay off later?
I gotcha. Yeah, like I gotta say 1,000% it is.
Yeah,
because it's like a bit of a down payment on your future.
I like the way that sounds.
And I don't think there's ever anything wrong with a little struggle ahead of time.
That's what I'm getting
for payoff on the other side of it.
Right.
And that's definitely, it seems like what we're doing right now.
Because I know, because you and I have talked about it, like it can be a bit of a struggle.
Well, it can be a bit of a struggle. And if I'm honest, like I like that.
You like the struggle.
I like a struggle to get me through, you know, especially if there's a carrot on the end of that stick.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I do need a bit of a, this is the goal that I'm working towards,
right,
to make it worth it.
This thing will pay off.
Yeah, like
right.
This is what I'm trying to achieve. Whereas, like without that struggle definitely becomes more irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree. I need some sort of a goal, and especially when the goal is like self-driven in this way, like I know that I want to do this thing,
right?
Like the struggle doesn't become easier for me, but the struggle becomes more worth it, I guess you could say.
It's more the focus for me,
right?
Like I have a clear end point of what I'm trying to do, so as long as I've got that dangling in front of me, I have more of the drive to get through the tough parts.
I agree. Yeah. So like you said, carrot and stick.
Yeah.
Speaking of carrots and sticks,
yep,
what are we drinking this week?
Man, we've got a special bottle. This is one that I procured some time ago.
Yeah.
Maybe like 5 months, 6 months
ago.
It's been a minute. I opened it. I've had a few pours out of it.
Yeah.
And I do really like it. I do really enjoy it.
Okay.
The whole premise behind buying this bottle was that it's a 15-year-old. And I bought this bottle.
This is a bourbon?
This is a Kentucky straight bourbon.
That is an ancient bourbon.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
I purchased this because this past year, my eldest daughter turned 15.
Yeah.
So this is a 15-year-old bourbon, which means that I've been a father for 15 years. And it just seemed appropriate. It seemed poetic.
I feel like you're in dangerous territory because at some point you're going to be buying 40-year scotches and spending a lot of money.
We'll see.
I like where this is going, though, to be fair.
But no, I think it was a fun experiment. We'll see if it was worth the experiment.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this is the Calumet Farm 15-year-old single rack black, whatever that is, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Okay.
So yeah,
let's get into it.
We're hopping in here at 105 proof.
Not bad.
This specific bottle, there's only 19 barrels that went into it.
That is I love that they tell me that, because like if they said small batch, I'd be like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, tell me what that means.
Yeah, but if you say small batch and there's 19 barrels, that is small batch.
Yeah, that lets me know. Hey, this is pretty limited quality.
Absolutely.
It's named after Triple Crown winner Whirl Away.
Whirl Away?
Whirl Away.
Spell that.
WHIRLAWA.
Whirl Away. Wow.
Whirl Away.
Yeah, I love it. Look, you got a bottle novel in the back of that
My
thing.
dude, there's a lot back here.
Okay. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to listen to your dulcet tones.
You ready?
I am.
Here we go. In 1941, Whirl Away was ready to shock the world with his amazing speed. Whirl Away had a tendency to bolt toward the outside rail. Trainer Ben Jones spent many sessions trying to break the habit with no luck. The more he tried to tame the wild Whirl Away, the more ornery the bold he became. I
mean, who doesn't?
I know. I mean, I do the same. As a last resort, the day before the Kentucky Derby, Ben Jones cuts one of Whirl Away's blinkers away. Oh. It works. Whirl Away, ridden by Eddie Aranco.
Aranco? There it is.
Not only gives Calumet Farm its first Kentucky Derby victory, but he does it with an 8-length victory in record time of 2:01.
Wow.
2 to 5 odds. Whirlaway subsequently gives Calumet its first Triple Crown after dominating the Preakness and the Belmont races as well. He later added a win at the Travers Stakes to complete the Grand Slam of thoroughbred racing. Haven't even heard of that.
Yeah.
To date, he is still the only horse in history to ever accomplish this feat. Whirlaway also captures the honored title of 1941 Horse of the Year.
Wow.
To honor the legacy of Calumet Farm and its finest Triple Crown winning horse,
We turned him into bourbon.
this exquisite bourbon has been crafted with the same passion and dedication that led Whirlaway to victory.
Wow. That is beautiful.
Man, the Grand Slam. I've never even heard of that.
Is Calumet Farms a sourced bourbon?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I thought so too.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know where they're sourcing it from. It's a product of Kentucky.
Sure. Okay.
So I can't imagine it's
This is on their website.
in Kentucky.
Where does Calumet Farm Bourbon come from? Western Spirits Beverage Company produces Calumet Farm Bourbon, and it is bottled by the Three Springs Bottling Company. Both are in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Bowling Green.
Some bourbon details. Ready?
Ready.
Barrel date. This is a 15-year. March of 2006.
March 2006. Got it.
Distilling aging location, Bardstown, Kentucky. Interesting.
Yeah.
Batch size, 19 barrels each. Filtration, non-chill. Potency, 105 proof. Mash bill, 74 corn, 18 rye, 8% MB. And then bottled by the Three Springs Bottling Company in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Whew.
Yeah, there you go. It gives us some tasting notes, but I'm not going to look at that. And then availability level, low or rare. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to this.
Well, it's interesting. Like, I mean, in the past, I'd say a couple years.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years. I've seen Calumet, the bottle, which is like a squat, kind of wider profile bottle. Seen it several times.
Yeah.
Never jumped on that small batch preference, but I've always noticed these kind of like higher age statements.
Yes.
And it sounds to me like what they're doing is they're sourcing.
Sure.
But they're putting together some kind of interesting bottles.
Yes.
It really reminds me of the orphan bottles. I can't think what they're called.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're
orphan
about.
barrel.
Yeah.
Orphan barrel bottles, like where they're putting together some interesting things, throwing an age statement on it, which it's hard to shy away from a 15-year bottle. That's pretty interesting. But the knowledge that like you're also curating it.
Sure.
You're putting together a profile. And
this is all constructed.
Yeah, that you're trying to produce a thing, and I like the concept there.
Yeah. All right.
It gives me a little bit of encouragement.
Well, it gives at the very least pause of like, what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that like there's so much thought put into the branding of it. Of
exactly.
Like it's the spirit of Kentucky. Like we're thinking about all of these things, and we're also going to try to match that history with a presentation of bourbon.
I like the presentation that they have. It's kind of an old school bottle. It's old school label design. I don't know. It reminds me of like a bygone era of whiskey.
Indeed.
So
yeah, agreed. Everything's kind of like got that sepia tone on it.
Yep.
I like it.
Hey, let's get into it.
You want to try it?
I do.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, well, no. Okay, yeah, I definitely do. Nice. All right, so high corn mash bill. I expect some sweetness.
Did we look up mash bill?
We did. Yeah, I read it. I read it already.
Okay.
You want me to read it again to you?
Sure.
Okay. 74, 18 rye, 8 MB.
Good deal.
Yep.
I like the color.
Yeah.
On the darker side.
Yep. Wow.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
The leg pour.
Kyle dripped it all down himself, all down the chair in the
I
studio.
consider that a wall drip.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I expect a lot of barrel note. I'm going to be a little disappointed if I don't get some barrel, being that it's 15 years here.
Sure. I mean, but at the same time, the last 15-year-old that we had, not much barrel on it.
No, and that was the George Dickel.
The Dickel Tickle.
Yeah.
As it were.
And it just, didn't have a whole lot of barrel on it.
It didn't.
But I know that this bottle is a little bit more expensive, so we'll see.
To the nose?
Ooh, got a little tickle. What was the proof? 105?
105.
Yeah. This is a nice little proof note.
52.5.
Ooh, that's some good math. There's some really nice like leather notes surrounded by caramel. So like it's like you went to a leather shop while eating a Werther's.
Sure. I get a lot of like, it's not caramel to me, it's brown sugar
Okay. That works too.
starting to like dip into like cinnamon.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that. There's like a nice like spicy note.
Yeah.
It's just a little spicy.
Little touch.
Touch of spice.
This presents itself as a much darker brown
It does.
spirit.
Yeah. I mean, the color is definitely dark.
Yeah.
But like, I know what you're saying. Like, it presents itself like black strap molasses, dark, heavy, sugary.
Sure. I smell this leather in a leather shop, and I'm turning around expecting to see like that dark leather.
Yeah.
Not that
yeah.
light leather, you know?
Or it's like gingerbread without the ginger.
Yeah, totally.
Just like that note.
A lot of like dark brown sugar.
Yep.
What's the fruit?
Plum.
Yeah, it's something dark.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like dark cherry.
I could say cherry too.
Plum works though.
Yeah. It's dark.
Yeah. for
It's
sure.
like
it's the same.
like a sugar plum. Like you've like set that plum in some like deep dark sugary syrup,
Right.
And you let it just sit there for
just
a while.
Soak it all up.
Yeah.
Whew.
All right. No sniffing time for sipping.
Indeed.
Do it. I'm gonna say very similar on the palate as it is on the nose.
Yeah, for sure. No curveballs.
Yeah. You get those really dark black strap sugary molassesy notes.
Yep.
But then there's it's accentuated by this like not the plum fruit, but like some other kind of like pink of like bright. But it's not bright all the way through by any means. It's still deep, dark, and brooding. But there's like a hint of like, oh, like just a little bit of levity here.
It's that cherry note for me. It's that what's the Queen Anne's?
Oh, in the like
the cordials.
Yeah, in the cream and the chocolate. Yeah.
I get a lot of that. A lot of that, especially on the aftertaste. That aftertaste to me just emanates cherry, dark with like chocolatey.
But it's like
stuff.
It's like dark cherry, but it's in a bright syrup, or it's in that like it promotes a bright note. I guess not really bright,
with that sugary note,
but like something that cuts through like the deep dark. So it's like okay, dark chocolate.
Yep.
But then you have some sort of fruit that cuts through that dark chocolate. That's what it reminds me of. You ever had like one of those? Ghirardelli makes a like dark chocolate raspberry square.
Sure.
It's like one of those. It's like dark chocolate. Here's your dark chocolate, which is bitter and brooding and deep and dark.
But
and
that
then this
goo
bright,
in the middle
exactly
has like a tartness.
Exactly. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
On the very back end, you get this like nice barrel note, but I want it to be more prominent. Like I want more of a bitter here.
I see what you're saying. Like the tartness and the barrel on the back end are like your kind of finishing notes, and they're kind of arguing to the finish, and you want one of them to kind of take over. You want it to be the barrel. You don't want it necessarily to be the tart to be kind of like the finishing thing. But they do just kind of like coexist.
Yeah, they're fighting.
The end.
They're fighting. One is not winning over.
Right.
They're just they are fighting.
Yeah.
In a way that's like, okay, somebody win here.
Right. Somebody give way.
Yeah.
And what I'm left with on that like exhale after you're finished is the subtlest oaky kind of a thing.
Yes.
So it's like the oak won out, but like I don't know that he's gonna survive.
Just like
He's mortally wounded.
Yeah.
And it's just more of a moral victory. Like you didn't survive.
Went down the wrong pipe. Sorry.
Like you didn't survive the war.
Yeah.
Like you were able to finish
what's
off.
that called? Oh, it's called a Pyrrhic victory.
There you go.
In which like you lost all of your troops. Everything that you were working for is now gone.
Right.
But you did win the battle. Or you did win the war.
Technically, you survived out.
Correct. Yeah.
But it was technically a draw at the same time.
So I'm impressed by this, but I'm also like, I'm interested that there's not more complexity. Being that it's 15 years old, I'm surprised there's not more complexity to this. And if I'm thinking about this, there are some big name bourbons that are 15 and 8 years above.
Whoa, 15 and 8 years above.
Yeah. 23.
So above
15, 8 years above 15. That's 23 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many of those have you had?
I've had 0.
Okay, me too.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a little bit of complexity here, but it's at 15 years.
Okay.
Is 8 years going to make that big of a difference? I mean, I'm beating a dead horse at this point. Calumet Farms, that's a pun.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Does it create anything more interesting beyond this?
Based on the 15-year bourbons that I've had, the answer is no. And we've had the EC 18. Granted, that was a while ago.
Right.
But complexity-wise, if I came into this expecting a complex AF bourbon, like I will be sorely disappointed because it's not that.
All right. I'm gonna throw in the caveat that this is our 4th episode of the day.
Okay.
Following 7 scotches, 2 bourbons, and 2 beers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say our palate might be
Overworked.
a little exhausted at this point.
Okay.
The times that I've had this prior, I've been very impressed.
Oh, I'm not saying
with
I'm not.
this. No, I'm just saying even complexity wise.
Okay.
I thought that there is a lot of depth to it. I feel like it is umptuous. I feel like it is a thicker, viscous whiskey.
Sure.
That does have a lot to offer. And I don't disagree. Like right now in this moment, I'm getting like bourbon and this like competing tartness with this barrel note.
Right.
And fair enough.
Okay.
But like at the same time, the other times that I've had it, I've been like
Blown away.
not blown away, but it's just like I would buy the 16 year.
Oh, okay.
Like I've felt that positively about it.
Okay,
That,
so
like,
then in that
fair
case,
enough. Like I would pull the trigger on that 16 if I find
look,
it.
I want to be clear. I think this is really good.
Right.
And I think you might be right, though, because, this is coming off of a big recording day that maybe our palates are just overworked.
Right.
But for me, like in this moment right now,
For sure.
like I want more complexity.
Right.
So then that makes me interested for, okay, I'll come back and try it.
Right.
You don't have to twist my arm.
Like I think it's interesting, like how much kind of thought that they're putting into the history of Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
How much interest they're putting into their concept and their design. And I've got to think that like you're not just doing that for bottle design.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
surely you're doing that for also the liquid in the bottle.
Right.
I think there's a lot going into it.
No,
Kind of
I agree. I can agree to that for sure.
a lot of information,
A lot of information.
not necessarily on what's in the bottle,
Right.
but a lot of information.
Yeah.
On the bottle.
But I will say, like, online, at least they're giving more information than some. Not as much as others, but more than some. And I do appreciate that.
Right.
And that to me tells me that they care about what's in the bottle, not just the marketing and the labeling of the bottle.
For sure.
Yeah. So overall, I'm going to say I like it. I'm interested in coming back to it, maybe when the bottle opens up a little bit and when my palate is not as overworked.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like if I think of it in those terms of like what we've gone through today, if I've still got anything positive to say here, good on you.
Oh, yeah. No, and that is 100% a high note. Absolutely. All right. What do you want to talk about this week?
Okay, so we live in an age of memes and social media.
Really?
It's just where we are. Right. Saw this one, sent it over to you because like I think it's super interesting because like we've got enough pop culture to like suggest we shouldn't be doing this, but we're doing it.
What are we doing?
Scientists are reincarnating the
Oh,
woolly
stop. You don't even have to go any further than that. Scientists are reincarnating?
something.
Okay. Okay. Finish it.
It's the woolly mammoth.
Oh, that's cute.
He is adorable, and he's set to return in just 4 years.
That is terrifying.
That seems like a bad idea.
I mean, you're right. I've seen a lot of movies where this does not go well.
At least the woolly mammoth, as far as I remember, at least as far as I understand,
There it is.
he is a very recent ancestor.
Yeah.
Didn't die off that long ago.
No.
In terms of
I mean,
numbers?
modern, quote unquote, modern humans lived alongside of woolly mammoths.
But I also saw Jurassic Park, and I feel like history decided that his time was done. So the intrigue of is this a good idea? Is it safe
Yeah.
to bring back the woolly mammoth? Thoughts?
I'm gonna say, like I think that there's this creates just turmoil, just
Right.
inner turmoil.
Right.
For one part, like the scientist part of me is like, hell yeah, that's cool. Bring that thing
Bring
back.
him on
Let's
back.
see what happens.
Let's go.
What's the worst that could happen? And like I know, but
He
then
eats too many plants.
there's the moralistic side of me that's like, wait, the worst that could happen is like just annihilation. Like that's probably the worst that could happen.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it.
Where do we get there?
You bring back the woolly mammoth, now you can bring back a whole slew of other things.
Okay, but like staying with the woolly.
So if we
just stopped there,
right,
hey, we're just
I guess
just show what we've learned.
what's the purpose?
To bring back to life the existence of a creature that didn't make it.
So why not choose something that's not 4,000 pounds? You see what
Like
I'm
the
saying?
dodo?
Like the dodo, or something.
I think they're working on it.
Oh god!
But
or something like a small rodent, or something that like we know, hey, this thing is not going to. You could think about the resources of a single woolly mammoth.
You know what kind of scares me?
What?
Is they probably already have, and it's just not
Like we're not
because it's not the woolly mammoth.
right.
They've already done it. Like, yeah, we brought back the woolly mouse,
Right.
but like nobody knows that thing, and
nobody
nobody
cares about
gives
that.
a fuck about the woolly mouse.
Right.
But the mammoth,
Right.
now we're ready.
Okay, so that's what it is. It's not that we have the ability to essentially clone and or replicate these creatures. It's that we're choosing a creature that is iconic.
Sure,
It's like
Yeah.
all of those like
he's from the Flintstones.
sure.
We've got 70 years of IP
Right.
to build on.
Well, it's that like there are plenty of creatures that are going extinct that the World Wildlife Foundation could focus on, but they focus on the panda,
Right.
Because pandas are cute,
They're adorable.
right? They focus on things that are going to generate buzz and money,
Right.
They don't they don't care about this little frog in South Africa or whatever. Like
Right.
we don't care about that.
Right.
We care about the panda because it's cute.
Right.
So or the pangolin because
And they
it's
know
cute.
kung fu.
Well, they do.
Right.
All of them.
Right.
And
Every
they
single
eat,
one of them.
They eat dim sum or bao buns. I can't remember.
Both.
Both.
Because they're both delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah.
So like as a marketing kind of tool, I'm like, nope, this is a bad idea. Like, because if we start with this thing, what else is on the horizon? It's that kind of debate of like, we can, but should we?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that was always the debate.
I mean, we have the ability to,
Right.
but should we?
Right.
I kind of go back to Oppenheimer. Like there's an Oppenheimer movie that has been released since the recording of this episode, or is on the horizon. I can't remember which. And like Oppenheimer, all of his journals and like things that we know about Oppenheimer, and he was the leader of the Manhattan Project, and kind of basically created the atomic bomb. Is that he very early on, when he knew the power of it, he's like, we should stop.
Right.
Because once this thing exists, there is no going back.
Right.
And I think very similar. Once this thing has been done, whether or not it has or is on the horizon, there's no going back.
Well, I feel like there's a bit of a difference just in terms of power.
Sure.
Like, are you really going to like empower a bunch of velociraptors like and control them? Like, obviously like Jurassic World is trying to suggest that yes,
Right.
we will
Weaponize these things.
right. But like in this day and age of cyber attacks and just overall organic attacks that we can put out there, like that seems a little slow. Like we're gonna slowly build an army of T-Rexes. So
In the age of like nuclear weapons.
right, that
okay.
we could just like obliterate
Sure.
countries really quick.
Right.
I feel like this is more of a scientific endeavor.
Yeah, okay.
It's not necessarily to be armed.
So more
And
of like
certainly,
a,
like I think at the same time, though, there are discoveries that happen within that,
right.
that do allow themselves to be armed. It's like, oh, well, we didn't know that strain of things existed, so we could utilize that now in a bomb that will turn that entire country. Instead of killing them, it'll turn them all into the lizard people.
I see your argument is basically like kind of like the argument of like, why go back to the moon or why go to the moon at all? And it's not like, first of all, it's because we can. and like we're proving that we can.
Right.
But it's also B, the things that we learn along the way to get there, the scientific advancement and discovery. So if you think about the B, like A to me is not a, it's that perspective of like, I have all the power. Okay, great. You have all the power.
Right.
Fine. But like, what are you going to do with it? I guess like that is what I'm more interested in. So if we think about it from that B perspective of like what scientific advancements will come of this.
Right.
Okay. Then I can be for it. But I mean, like if it's just, we're doing it because we can. Okay, cool. But then what is going to come of that? Like, what are the ramifications? Again, just on a local level, now we have this, 4,000 pound or however big a mammoth is, I don't know, animal that we have to now feed and take care of. Like, what the hell are we going to do with this thing? I guess if you approach it like, well, now we've got this animal for food, now that brings up a whole lot of other moral perspectives.
Right.
Are we growing these animals for food? Okay, like, wouldn't there be other easier ways to do this? Don't misunderstand me. I think it's cool, but I'm also like, what are the intentions here ultimately? And those intentions that are published in like a news article and what actually is going to happen, I think primarily are two different things.
I mean, fair point, but like at the same time, how far down that rabbit hole do you go? Because like the scientists who are doing the experiments, doing the work, doing the biology and chemistry to create the thing, their intents are very different from the people who are funding the project.
100%.
So like that's a difficult thing to try to, navigate also. Yeah. But
I mean, I saw Alien and Aliens and Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection and
did they deal with this?
Not woolly mammoths, but it was like this large corporation kind of funding these scientific advancements, and all of this goes awry.
Sure.
I mean, and this is a trope.
Park.
Yeah, this is a trope that's like been hashed over so many times.
But like I look at it in that realm of like the Jurassic Park of we're bringing these creatures back who used to inhabit this planet, and here's what comes of it.
Right.
And obviously, like Jurassic Park is trying to say, like, these aggressive, vicious creatures are not meant to survive in this landscape.
Correct.
But, I think in a realm of we are able to bring back this creature.
Yeah.
We have the capability. It's more or less, to me, a thing of should we?
Right.
Why shouldn't we?
Right. Should we?
Because we have the ability. Right. We have the ability, but is it the right thing to do?
Right.
Why or why not?
What pros and cons list, and like, how are we going to engage in this? Exactly.
Because like, care of the creature once it's created is a bit of a, I don't really care.
Okay.
It's a mammoth. Yeah, he's going to eat a bunch of veggies. We can do that. Zoos exist.
Okay.
There's plenty of funds for that. It's more or less like the moral aspect of, this version of this creature did not survive evolution. So do we, but at the same time, it's like, but we've discovered the ability.
Right.
So why shouldn't we pull it out of extinction?
I also
wouldn't that be like the grandest example of technology?
Like we made this thing that was
pulled this thing out of extinction. Like what an accomplishment.
So then it also becomes like, what other things do we pull out of extinction? Those things went extinct for a specific reason.
But is it a reason or because of a effect?
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, what is that reason? What was the effect that destroyed this particular animal? So then, how do you start to like? Well, we're not gonna bring back the woolly mammoth, but we're not gonna bring back the dodo. I mean, that's an easy low hanging fruit kind of perspective.
Sure.
We're not gonna bring back the Barbary lion or the coelacanth. We know exists now, but like we're gonna bring it back in bigger numbers.
Yeah, that's more like a thing of like, all right, so like. What I assume they're doing is like we're gonna bring back a living example, of a mammoth.
Sure,
she's there.
Right.
It's not that we're gonna bring back a herd.
Right.
We're gonna bring them back in thousands. I don't know that that's like the goal. I don't have no clue. But to me, it's more just like it's a flex.
Sure. No, I agree.
It's kind of more of a Jurassic Park, and this Jurassic Park took it into the realm of like, if we do this, the world ends.
So,
and I don't think that's necessarily the case.
There's a scene in Blade Runner 2049. It's Jared Leto, and I forget the name of whatever he is. I forget his name, but you see this like replicant being born. It's a pretty traumatic scene, but you see this replicant being born, and she's like scared, and she's naked, she's scared, she's covered in this like birthing liquid. It's gross.
Replicant being a replicated,
an AI. Yeah, an AI, but a replicated human. Something that looks human.
Right.
And there's this whole monologue. He's talking about life, and he's created these things and all this. And he goes up to her and he stabs her in the stomach, and he rips her open, and she dies.
Right.
And like the whole kind of thing is like, I created this life, and I don't like what I see, or I see some sort of flaw, or I don't, whatever, or at the very least, I have the ability to now kill it because I have brought it into life.
Right.
And I'm not saying like the scientists are thinking on that terms, but it's like, at what point do we start to have those kinds of conversations of, okay, so we created this thing now, because we've created it, is it real? It's organic, but it's also inorganic. It's alive in some sense because it is breathing, but also now you start to have this perspective of, when is life? What is life? When does that generate? How do we define those things? So I think it just brings up a slew of problems and issues, and I'm really looking forward to combating and thinking about. But also, I've seen how we've treated everything up to this point, and like,
right,
I don't know.
Right.
That's where I am.
Yeah. I mean, I think also too of the movie Ex Machina,
right,
where that created AI kills the creator, intelligently enough to like navigate its way through this other person to get access to the creator.
Exactly.
Like, that's brilliant. I think it's interesting to think of when we get to that point, but I don't think bringing back a woolly mammoth, I don't think gets us there. It's probably a stepping stone, to get there, but it's not there. And I feel like there's a long path to go from there to there, and I think that step along the path absolutely should be taken.
Yeah.
Like, could we as a species pull out another species that was extinct and stop it?
Right.
I think that's sick. And I think
that's
that's pretty freaking cool that we've generated that concept. And I'd love to think that, like, as a whole, as a people, as a society, as a creature, we could be like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd all get there, but like, that's cool.
I think my cautious optimism says that. Damn, that is cool. But I've also, like I said, I've seen how collectively humans have dealt with other things and like the irresponsibility of those other things. And like, yeah, that thing is cool, but what are the ramifications? And that's the cautious nature of the optimism. Optimism being like, this is awesome. The cautious part being like, okay, but hold up. Where
does it go wrong?
Yeah, all of these questions for sure.
And certainly there's nothing wrong with being, cautious. Always like checking, like, like, all right, so where are your ambitions through this?
Sure. What is the end game here?
Right. Yeah. What are you trying to prove?
Exactly.
And as long as that's, to me, as long as it's like, if it's just science, proceed.
Right.
If it's, no, I want to be able to take this and like control other humans with the information that we gain from this, then we should question that individual. Be like, wait a second, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's cool.
I agree. You got anything else?
Nope.
No, me neither.
Okay.
Well, I think we're done.
Yeah.
All right.
We covered that.
Drop it stone out.
Yep.
Click.
Thanks, woolly mammoths.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week.
Oh.
Or in 4 years.
Probably 4 years. Yeah. Or, now. They might ramp it up, speed it up.
Yeah, we may not use this for 4 years.
Who knows? Well, we want to know.
Calumet 27.
Well, we want to know, what do you think about these kind of scientific advancements? I mean, I know that we brought it up with woolly mammoths, but it's in a bunch of different realms.
Bunch. What other realms are you talking about?
I mean, like computer science, space science, things like that. Like that idea of like, should we, could, or we can, but should we?
Right. Yeah. At what point should we throw caution and say, hold it up?
Right.
That's too far.
We also want to know, what do you think about the Calumet Farms 15 year?
Yeah. Have you tried it? Have you had a different age statement? What did you think about that one? And maybe we procure one of those age statements.
Or even better, someone procures it for us.
And gives us a little taste of it.
Or a whole bottle.
Yeah, give us a whole bottle of that Calumet 27. We're all for it.
Absolutely. We'll share some with you.
Give us some of that woolly mammoth juice.
Ooh, delicious. Woolly mammoth juice? That's gross.
Bro, they're mammals.
That's still gross.
Luke Skywalker did it.
That's even, yeah. Why is it blue? Cool.
So good.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone. DREP and Stone. Find it, like it, share a thing, like a thing. We'll comment on all your things.
And also, you can support the podcast through our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/drepandstone. Keeps the fan on, keeps the recording machine working.
Yeah, it's old school.
It
I
is.
mean, it's old technology.
Yeah, we got
We're not
tapes.
up to date like these, like biology scientists.
No, in fact, like I had to change the tape
stuff.
3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's
so many batteries.
It's, God, so many batteries. You can also support the podcast by rating Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one. And finally, Kyle.
Fuck yeah.
You can... Finally, Kyle.
Yep.
You can go up to your favorite scientist friend.
Yeah.
Walk closely up to them. Don't scare them, though.
Yeah, for
Walk
sure.
closely up to them?
Yeah.
Slowly is what I mean.
Say,
don't scare them.
Good day, doctor.
Yeah, from a distance, but like you're gonna want to approach these people, palms raised,
Right.
or hands in front of you,
Yeah,
just
for sure.
to show that you
Good morrow to you,
mean
sir.
no harm,
Right.
And simply approach them and say, I know that things are stressful right now
Right,
because you're working on this mammoth thing,
Right.
but have you listened to Drep and Stone?
Right. And they will say, yeah.
And you will say,
No joke.
and then you will have a conversation
They will
about the
be-
Calumet Farm 15.
Indeed. They will say, cheers, buddy.
And you will say, cheers, buddy, back to them. And then they
Right.
will say,
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show.
And your butt cheeks
Always glow?
show.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, glow's
Well,
good.
yeah, because,
I
like
like
scientist, radioactive, that's what I meant.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how that whole interaction will go.
I like it.
And then you want to find somebody else in that lab because, like, you now have friends and, like, you want to tell more people.
Yeah, I wish my butt cheeks glowed.
I've seen them glow before.
No shit.
Yeah.
Sunburn.
Exactly. Oh, you threw me off. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. You know what I mean?
Totally. What kind of interesting things can we find?
I could not. Okay, Victoria Beckham is posh spice.
There you go. She was posh. That adds up.
You good on that?
Totally.
Cool. Do you want to bring this up?
Nope.
Okay. It's that,
What
like,
are you going to do with it, sir?
and you can also support the podcast. You can also support the podcast by why am I saying podcast?
Podcast. Touch me all you want. Yeah.